My name is Anna Pratch. That is who I am. That is stage name as well. Yeah. I started dancing at about 4 years old. Policy to start dance in St Paul at the time was, with Miss Nancy, was as long as you were out of a diaper, she would take you. So that's when I started to dance. I originally started because my older sister did dance, and I just wanted to be just like her. If I could tell the world only one thing about myself, it's so depressing. I would probably tell them about how it actually isn't all sunshiny. I often get put into that category, and I'll take that category. I live in that category of the sunshiny, positive person. But yeah, that's not all there is. It takes a lot of dark to get to that sunshine. I think it starts with a feeling that I find within myself that I find interesting, and then, I bring it up to a friend, and they've gone through a similar thing, and suddenly I bring it up to another friend, and they've gone through something similar too, and I just kind of take that feeling and explore it, and like to see where that goes, and what is unique about my experience, and what is shared. There are a small handful of people in the world whose thoughts mean the world to me. And I'm not going to call them opinions, because I think one of the reasons that those handful of people are so important to me is that they don't ever put their opinions on me. They're very, very good at asking interesting questions and presenting alternative views. And that's why those are the people that I've chosen to let influence my art and create the experiences that define what my art looks like. Yeah. I always want to take the audience experience into consideration with my art. I think that's the most important, for me at least, that is the number one priority when I'm making a project, is what is my audience taking away. I am constantly making sure that they're going to be on the same page as me, or if they're going to be on a different page, that it's still one that is interesting. Audience perspective and experience is incredibly important. They're the ones that I'm making my art for. My mom always said, she was like, Anna, if she wasn't going to be a dancer, she was going to be a visual artist. If she wasn't going to be a visual artist, she was going to be a poet. If she wasn't going to be a poet, she was going to be a musician. The list just went on and on and on. And I think the pandemic was a really cool time for folks who didn't necessarily have the privilege of growing up with those experiences and ability to kind of live life like that, to actually start exploring that. Whether it was an at-home arts and crafts project, home renovations were really big, working on a school project with your kids. Yeah, it was an opportunity to dabble, and I think that's really cool. So when the pandemic first started, I Well, there were quite a few phases to the pandemic starting. I remember going to Atlanta for a Latin dance convention competition situation that was really fun. And I remember the COVID-19 was it was a thing, but it wasn't a high concern. It wasn't something that was actually going to affect us yet. Like my mom worried about it. My mom worried about me traveling. It was very sweet, but it wasn't at a point where her concerns were something to take seriously. I came back to Edmonton and went pretty swiftly to a big art gig in Calgary. I remember when it started to become, like at the party it was more of a joke. Ah ha ha ha, we're all gonna leave this party in COVID-19. And when I got back to Edmonton, through all this, I was in the midst of getting my intermediate fight certification for stage combat. And when I came back, there was a very serious conversation that those that were in the certification with me and our instructor and I all kind of needed to have. What were people's boundaries and comfort levels? I think we made the call to kind of postpone things for a week. And then 1 week turned into 2 weeks, 2 weeks turned into 3 weeks, and then suddenly our test fight turned into an essay. I was very fortunate during the pandemic to still have access to a dance studio. And so a lot of my pandemic focused in on, art-wise, focused in on self-work. I spent a lot of time choreographing on myself. I spent a lot of time listening to music and learning. That was probably the beginning of me learning how to film dance. It was for social media. It was nothing big, but you know, it was an opportunity to share the things I was creating to an audience. Yeah, my mental health journey throughout making art is definitely a bit of a roller coaster. Even in the lead up, the highs are high and the lows are low, and it really affects not only me, and I mean, I won't be touching art again for a little while now, but it also affects my relationships to the other people around me, how I take care of myself. That wasn't, yeah. It's not how an end of a sentence works, but I'm gonna make that the end of the sentence. When my mental health is low, that is when I, without realizing it, tend to put my art on the back burner. And usually the way that I need to increase my mental health, once I kind of become cognizant of what's happening, is I just start out with really baby things. I will not deny having gone to a dollar store to pick up a kid's coloring book and some markers, because that is the art that I can handle right then and there, and is the baby step I can handle. Or the little scratch books, you know, where it's like holographic at the back, and you scratch off the design, like 100%. When I am at my lowest, like those are my best friend. Especially in the summer, like I get myself out to a park and I just sit there and I scratch because it is mindless and I can't mess it up, and this is what I can do. And it slowly works back to creating again. So yeah, watching that journey throughout the pandemic was pretty intense. Poetry was a big one because I didn't necessarily always have access to getting art supplies. So, you know, writing was a really big one. And this also took a little bit of time, also was just kitchen dancing. Low stakes, just grooving while you're doing dishes to a good song. No intention of turning into choreography or a big piece or anything like that. Just finding joy in the movement again. One of my favorite lessons as a little art nerd through the pandemic was learning about different medias of art. So, for example, one of my annual projects that I help work on is the St. Paul's annual production of The Nutcracker. And I remember the first year throwing, that poor board and creative team. They put up with a lot of my own tantrums. They weren't tantrums at them, they were just tantrums because I am such a firm believer. My version of the Nutcracker is one to be told to a live audience. That is the way it is designed to be. I'm not saying that all Nutcrackers have to be done for a live audience. Disney wanted to do a version of the Nutcracker for film, but the person who wanted to make that happen said, my version of the story is told through film. And so that's what they chose to do. I had such a hard time with the fact that my version of the story is told to a live audience and I had to tell it through film. I hated that. I did it. It was fine. I learned a lot of things. And I had an amazing team supporting me through that. But yeah, I learned a lot of things. And so not only toying with what style of media presentation is the best one for your story, but also how each media presentation requires different things. I feel so much pressure as an artist as restrictions begin to lift. Remembering what it's like to create again, like properly create, not just kind of create, like really create brand new concepts and ideas and be able to take them to fruition. It's almost like I lost those skills along with like social skills. As I was learning how to introduce myself to people again, I was also learning how to have an idea and actually consider what that could look like as a final product. I had a really big learning curve on this past project because this was the first time I've ever made art without a story or script already in place. Holy crap, do people not give enough credit to how hard that is? My poor team, my crew team, that should not have had to sit there while I tried to figure out what exactly the script looked like as we were setting up the night before. Oh, it's really hard. Anyway, I feel like that is a huge, to create something out of nothing takes so much energy and effort. It is not just because we are the quote unquote artsy types, those creatives, the artistic people, does not mean that this is something that just naturally occurs. It takes a lot. Reconnecting with an audience in this post-pandemic-ish world, to me, it's getting to go on the emotional journey with them again. That was, one of the biggest things that really hit me throughout the pandemic was when we did our Nutcracker online, and I didn't get to hear anybody laugh at my jokes. It was really important to me. I didn't know how important it was to hear people laugh at my jokes and get scared at my fight scenes and fall in love with our protagonist in the same space with them. So to me, being able to reconnect with my audience is to be able to actually feel that emotional journey and go on that with them again. My emotional journey as pandemic restrictions lift has been so focused on joy. So joy oriented. Even doing half an hour intense conditioning workouts are now filled with so much joy because I get to do them with my friends and fellow artists. I have such a vivid memory of the first time that dancing was allowed again. And I just got to go out and hang out with some friends and dance and just dance the night away. When we go out, we are elbows out. I want my dance space. This is it. This is the moment. It's not even alcohol oriented. I am generally bone cold sober going out dancing just because I just want to move and I just want to be in that space. And yeah, so much joy. So much joy. Near the end of the pandemic, I have a vivid memory of doing jumping jacks in a warm-up full of friends that I hadn't seen in a very long time, many months. And it was so cool that everybody was in unison. And I remember nerding out and getting such a dopamine high from these jumping jacks, which is so dorky, but it felt so good. I feel a lot of things. I'm a very feely person. I like to feel joy at its fullest, sadness at its fullest, anger at its fullest, even if it's not mine. And I think that's really where art plays in. Probably the angriest I've ever been has been at a character in a book. And the most joy I've ever felt is in the final happy scene of a musical. It's art really takes us to the places, to the outer skirts of our emotional capacities, and I think that's really what shapes our human existence. That's where you get empathy from. That's where you get critical thinking from. That's where you get the core emotions that we need to define our society.
Evening dapples through the trees, carried by a calming breeze. I thought if I could stay just like this, it would be okay. Breathing deeply, cool at first, I just realized it doesn't hurt. I've been freezing for so long, I thought I'd never warm. And I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to feel. But I could be happy here. I could be happy here. Is that what this is? I think I'm happy here. I'm happy.